What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to get on here and react to some of this Timcast, aka Tim Pool, and the Quartering, aka Jeremy, some of this drama, because if any of you guys know me, you know I'm always here for the tea. So let's just get into this. All of this beefing between the Quartering and Tim Pool, and I feel like a lot of people against Tim Pool. All of this is happening because of Eliza Bleu, who I did cover on this channel, I think 2 weeks ago. Now that we have seen some, I wouldn't call it leaked videos, but there are some videos circulating around on Twitter right now showing Eliza Bleu be extremely comfortable with Ian, who was on Tim's daily show, and another former member who used to be on Tim's show. Let's just take a look at what Tim has to say.
Because they've demanded that I disavow certain individuals. They've created a, viral news cycle among people about drama related to me that I quite honestly think is a net negative in terms of moving forward. It exemplifies that these people are very much the exact same thing that AOC is, that I despise and think we need to do away with. And
nobody is asking Tim to come out and necessarily say Eliza Bleu is a grifter and a horrible person, blah, 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 blah. They want him to address the particular issues. They just want to hear his opinion rather than get screamed at for even asking what his opinion might be on the subject.
Humans want tribal conflict, and they will get it no matter what.
The only person that is making this into a beef or a war or a tribal conflict is literally Tim, bro. The Quartering has implicitly stated that he doesn't want a war and that he wants people to watch both his content and Tim's content. He doesn't want people to feel like they have to choose between the two. And you know what? Nobody is safe from criticism. Just because two people agree on the same political ideas doesn't mean that criticism can't be thrown around.
Let me show you some stuff on YouTube, and I'll talk about what the YouTube space is and what the culture war is. The first thing I'll say is,
this is not a culture war. Again, the only person who is turning this into a war is you, Tim.
But I'm not interested in pandering to anybody for any reason. And if that means you will unfollow this channel, you will unsubscribe from my website, then you should have never signed up in the first place.
It really, really bothers me whenever a content creator is being held accountable by their audience, or whenever a content creator's audience is overwhelmingly interested in what the content creator has to say about a subject that is extremely relevant to their channel and the content they produce. It really irritates me when the content creator then turns around and blames it on the audience and says, "Oh, unfollow me, I don't want you here." I think it's really easy to say that, but these are people that have invested money into your content. They've invested money into you because they support you as a human. This is truly the most immature way to handle a situation like this. Don't forget who put you where you sit today. People just wanted Tim to give any kind of opinion on the matter, and he just wouldn't. Instead, he just yelled at his audience for even bringing it up. And to me, that's really kind of entitled.
I'm not going to cater to you. I'm not going to pander to you. I'm going to talk about what I think is important. I'm going to focus on issues that I think are important. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, this channel's not for you.
If you really wanted to focus on the issues that matter, you could have just literally said 2 sentences a week ago, and this whole thing would have been over with. So to me, that's a very disingenuous statement to make.
Here's the Quartering saying Tim Pool blasts his viewers on Timcast IRL. The Quartering issues and issues and apology, and back to Eliza Bleu. Jeremy Hambley makes endless videos about me.
That is so ridiculous to say. I watch the Quartering. I'm not a diehard Quartering fan, but I do watch his videos quite a bit. He doesn't just talk about Tim Pool all the time. I mean, everybody knows that is the case. Obviously, he's talking about this because Tim, you're the one who is creating an issue. If you didn't continue to perpetuate the issue at hand, then Jeremy wouldn't need to make videos about it.
You take a look at his Joe Rogan video. Jeremy Hambley makes a video about Joe Rogan and he gets 115,000 views. He makes a video about Tim Pool and he gets 232,000. We scroll down. Here's another video he makes about Tim Pool. He gets 243,000 views. He makes a video about Eliza Bleu, 61,000. This is what I'm talking about.
If you're trying to insinuate that your name is getting more views on the Quartering's channel than Joe Rogan, take a seat, please. Okay, take a seat, sir. Obviously, people are tuning into videos that are being made about you on the Quarterings channel right now because you guys are beefing. A beef that you started. So if you don't want him making videos about you, then why did you start this entire drama beef situation to begin with?
I talk about what I care about talking about and what I think is important and what should be talked about. But I'll give you an example of what this is. Did I attack my own fans?
Yes, you did. Just because it was maybe for, a minute or two doesn't mean that you didn't do that.
Obviously, you're watching this. You're a fan. I never attacked you.
Just because I'm watching this does not mean I'm a fan.
Why is Jeremy Hambley lying on his channel? Just like the Young Turks, that's what people do.
And that's what you're doing right now. You're literally doing the same thing. If you want to call these people out for sensationalizing, that's exactly what you're doing in this video right now.
When Jeremy makes videos about Joe Rogan, he gets less views than he makes videos about me. That's why he does.
Oh, you were just stroking your own ego with that one. This is just your lucky day. Like, scroll further, Tim. Please, scroll further down Jeremy's page. Keep going. Let's see how the views look then.
So by all means, keep making up your trash garbage and misrepresenting who I am and what I believe, Jeremy Hambley or the Young Turks. You're all the same as far as I'm concerned.
That is incredibly disingenuous. And it's just ironic because, like, for somebody who's always talking about, like, well, did you actually see the context? Like, Tim, did you actually watch any of Jeremy's videos? Because if you did, you would know that he's not really slandering you.
I'll tell you what I said. On my show, I said, I believed Eliza Bleu is trying to be famous. And there is a PR firm that we know of.
I am so sick of hearing about the PR firm. Nobody believes that. That isn't. I watched this story unfold in real time. It started with Ali Alexander. That's the first person I saw talk about Eliza and her grift. I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Ali Alexander is not a paid PR firm, okay? Why would a PR firm do this to Eliza? How in the world is this going to help her? This has only hindered her. If you look at the replies to her tweets, she is getting dragged. She's getting dragged. This is the stupidest cope I've ever heard.
Making up videos where he says Tim Pool blasts his viewers when I quite literally said, these people are clearly not fans.
Just because people don't agree with every single thing you do, and just because people want to know what you think about a certain issue and you don't like it, just because people have a criticism of you does not mean that they're not a fan. And to expect your viewers to agree and just go along with everything that you say without questioning it makes you sound a lot like a flying liberal. So it's okay for you to question things. It's okay for you to have disagreements. But when your viewers have disagreements with you, then it's not okay. You sound like a communist, dude.
It's just the same Young Turks garbage. It's the same thing I've been complaining about for months as they make up fake things about me. It's the same thing I complain about with Sam Cedar, who makes up fake things about me. It's the same thing I complained about with Hassan Piker, a prominent leftist personality who...
It's just so unfair to lump in the quartering with Hassan Piker and the Young Turks.
I think there's a lot of really messed up things happening in this world. And I'm not convinced that we're headed in a positive direction that's going to be able to solve these things, because this is what people really want.
What people really want is for you to just address the situation. It would have taken 2 sentences, a single statement. This is your writer that you employ, that he is writing on for your website, your publication. That is so unfair.
He works here, but he puts my name in the video because I guess people are obsessed with me.
Oh, stop it. Stop it with that. It's just like, it's such a it's just cringe, stop.
Tim Pool blocks me, 317,000 views, and they attacked me for doing it.
It is up to you. That is absolutely anybody's right at the end of the day to block someone, but it's also the person's right who got blocked to talk about.
The crew, Brittany Venti, I mean, these channels, I don't care for. They don't talk about things that are going to change the way you buy food. They're not going to help you raise your kids. They're not going to solve the problem of crime skyrocketing in your city.
So one of my biggest issues with a lot of people on the right is they will say that, oh, well, you're not right enough. You know, you're not Christian enough. You're not on the right enough. Unless you're banned off big tech, you're still an op. And I think that's ridiculous. It's okay to not have every single content creator on the right want to talk about like the same exact issues. Okay. There is a culture war going on right now, if you aren't aware. And sometimes to get to the root of the culture war, you have to go to the things that, like, honestly, most people are talking about and want to hear about. People want to talk about the woke culture, like maybe Disney being woke, for example, and they want to, you know, review the woke films on Disney. That has a value as well. Just because people aren't talking about necessarily what's going on in Congress every day or what's going on, you know, with the elite every day, however you want to frame it, doesn't mean that there isn't value in people who talk about what's going on in the culture. Because at the end of the day, the culture is the heartbeat and is the best way to gauge what is going on higher levels, like the government, like international affairs. People look to the culture to understand where we are at as a society. And to condemn people like Jeremy or others that, you know, another person who comes to mind might be like Lauren Chen for wanting to tackle the cultural part of what's going on right now in America is just, it's gross. I'm sorry. Not everybody has to be in the same lane. What you deem as important is not the standard for all. You know what? It's okay, Tim, for you to cover what you want to cover. That's why you have a YouTube channel. But to act like what Jeremy does isn't important is disingenuous and it's wrong. Jeremy does have about 1.5 million followers. So obviously what he talks about does resonate with people.
But there's a large portion of the internet that really, really wants this. Don't follow me if that's you. Cancel your subscriptions at timcast.com if this is what you want. I never wanted your money in the first place. I asked for your memberships at timcast.com because we want to open a coffee shop. The psychotic woke cult. That's what I want to do. What I don't care for is grifters. Outright grifters. They'll accuse me of all of that stuff. Fine, that's fine. But I'll tell you this right now. I'd have no problem, as I always say, hopping in my van and going down by the river and just living it and giving everything up.
You want people to leave you alone? Then you should have just done the right thing.
In fact, it'd probably be a whole lot easier. So I would appreciate it if people who followed Sam Cedar, the Young Turks, Hassan, and the Quartering weren't following my channel.
I love how the Quartering implicitly says, I don't want you guys to feel like you have to choose. You can follow me. You can follow Tim Pool. I don't want a war. Then you have Tim Pool over here. If you follow the Quartering, unfollow me. Because if you don't think exactly like Tim thinks, if you don't believe every single thing he says, then he doesn't want you there. What does that sound like to you? People just watch like what resonates with them. So you're not going to get a ton of liberals watching Tim Pool's show. You're not going to get a ton of liberals watching the Quartering show because they don't want to hear that. So to think that you're like truly making some kind of difference in that regard specifically, to me is like, it's inflated. I have to say, at the end of the day, I watch Timcast, but I don't really watch Timcast for Tim. I think a lot of people watch Timcast for his guests. And of course, you're going to have your super fans and your diehards, and that's totally fine, right? But I think a lot of people watch Tim's show for his guests. I don't know if Tim necessarily always understands that. I think Luke leaving the show indicates a lot. I find it coincidental. I just think it says a lot. I'm not necessarily suggesting anything, but like all I have to say is I think Tim just needs to check his ego a little bit here. Just take the L because it's like really not that big of a deal. He's asserted that opinion 100 times already in this freaking video. Just take the L and move on, bro. Like, just take the L, apologize, move on. All right, guys, that's really all I had for you today. This was just a quick reaction. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. And if you have any thoughts, leave them down in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.